What's up guys, your boy Gus back again with another video, and today I'm yet again doing another Dead by Daylight X collab video. Now, these are always the flanks to, and today is a very special one. I don't exactly call this a re-collab with someone, technically not, but both the footage you see in the background and the idea for today were both given to me by the YouTuber Chocolate, who, if you guys don't know, it's a very, I would say, a pretty big YouTuber in the Dead by Daylight scene. So yeah, they're known as like the Oni guy. He's a very good Oni player. Now, the reason how I get to do this was a couple of, I think it was about earlier this month, I think it was, maybe last month, I can't remember exactly. I got to do some recording with him for one of his videos, which is the one you see in the background right now. And afterwards, I asked him, one, if I could use the footage which he said yes to, and if there was any license you would love to see the most, the way like what it would be, and he gave it to me. So today we're doing Dead by Daylight X Predator. Now keep in mind this: I have not seen any of the Predator movies. I know about the character, I know about the movies, just have not had time to watch them, and I don't know where I can watch them exactly. And the reasons I've done for today for this idea is mainly only focused on the first Predator movie, not any of the newer remake first ones, the original first Predator movie. So yeah, anyways, without further ado, let's begin with the new map. Now, as for the map, I think it was pretty obvious what it was going to be, but it was going to be the setting for the first movie, the Guatemala Forest. Hopefully I say that correctly. Now, I think this makes the most sense. It's the most iconic scenery in the first Predator movie. As well, I think it could be a cool idea because we don't really have a real like foresty kind of map. Yeah, we have like the red forest, which is kind of like a forest area, but there's not as many trees as I would like it to be. But like for this, I want it to be like mostly outside map full with trees, and if there are like any like upstairs like building kind of things, I want them to be a bit smaller. So I want the main part of the map to be just a lot of trees you can hide behind and stuff hidden. I feel like that would make the most sense for Predator map, and it'll be a really cool map, especially for Predator and as well for like stealth killers, because I feel like stealth killers do kind of need a new map that can work well with them, because we've not got that in a bit, I feel like. But anyways, yeah, and there's not much else to say other than that, but yeah. So let's move on to the Survivor. Now, as for the Survivor, I think it's pretty obvious to agree with, but the Survivor is going to be Alan Dutch Schaefer, who, if you guys don't know, is the character that Arnold plays in the movie, who's like the main character, main soldier guy. Now, again, I myself have not watched the movie, so I don't know exactly how he acts, but I have a good feeling of how he acts. So I feel like the perks I've come up with do make sense for him. So anyways, yeah, let's get on over to his perks. The first one is, if it bleeds, we can kill it. How this perk works is after being the killer's terror radius, when not in chase, this perk activates. I will say you have to be in the killer's terror radius for about, let's say, I would say like a minute. A minute, if that's too long, you can do like 40, maybe 50 seconds. After being in the killer radius for about that time, the perk activates. And then, whenever you are in chase, you can dash into the killer. Kind of like similar how to like the Dead Hard dash. You can dash into the killer to hit them with a knife, which will then stun the killer for 5 seconds. Then this perk goes on cooldown for about 2 minutes. Now, I feel like this is kind of like a different like DS kind of, where you can hit the killer and stun them, but say if you have to be on the shoulders to do it, you have to willingly run into the killer and basically kind of give them a free hit, because this does not give you endurance. You don't gain endurance from this. So most of the time you can only really do this if you are healthy to stun the killer, because if you're injured trying to do this, the killer will hit you and then get stunned, because their hit will will take its effect before they get stunned. I can't speak properly. But anyways, yeah, the next perk we have are My Men Are Not Expendable. What it says is when the last generator is done, you will hook and heal 100% faster. But this perk only works if you are not injured. I accidentally spelled things wrong on my goddamn script. Yeah. If you are not injured. Okay, sorry, I'm just spacing out. Yeah. I think that's a great way for like a great in-game perk to quickly help your teammates if you're especially in a bad situation where you got the Dustin done, but it's hard to get in to get like you have to heal, reset, and stuff like that. This is great for that. But again, making it fair so you can't just you'll get killed, have it constantly, you have to be healthy, which I think is a great kind of thing to make so it's not too broken. And this last perk is called This Is Getting Better by the Minute. What this perk does is whenever a gen is done, you gain a token. For each token, you see the aura of everything on the map for 2 seconds every 50 seconds. So during when all 5 gens are done, you will see everything on the map for 10 seconds every 50 seconds. When I mean everything, I mean like everything. Every pallet, window, gen, X gates, and even survivors and killers. You will see everything on the map, which sounds very strong, but remember, because it's token based, when you first get the first couple of times, it will not be that good because after a first gen, you only see everything for 2 seconds. So that's not a lot of time to register your thing in your head of where everything is. But the more the match goes on, more chances are done, you see more and more. I feel like this is a great kind of, again, I have not watched movies, so I don't know exactly these make entire sense based on his character, but I feel like these could work for him. So anyways, now it's time for the great part of all of these. This is the fun part of these videos. Let's move on to the killer. Now, as for the killer, of course, it's obvious who's going to be. It is, of course, the Predator, who, I did not notice, but in the first movie, he is known as the Jungle Hunter. If I remember that correctly, I'm pretty sure that was who he was known as. Now, as for his power, this was kind of fun to come up with something that fits him. His power is called On the Hunt. And he has 3 things he can do with this power. One, he has this camouflage, which basically kind of works like a wave. You gain undetectable and you become like kind of invisible, but people can still hear you and see you. Yeah, and you gain 25% haste. So very similar to how fast you can move as a wave while cloaked. And then yeah, whenever you are near a survivor, they can hear you making noise. It will take you 5 seconds to get out of the camouflage. Again, I don't remember exactly if that is longer than how long wave takes or short. I don't remember exactly. But again, I don't come up with them with add-on stuff. You can make that shorter. Now, for his camouflage, he has a unique thing as you go out of it, which is his grab attack. How this works is that you can grab a survivor after coming out of camouflage. I'll say you have like 15 seconds to do this before you have to go through camouflage to activate it. And when you have grabbed a survivor, you have 2 seconds to choose where you want to throw them. If they hit a wall or object, they take damage. If they hit another survivor, both survivors take damage. So it's kind of similar to how Whiskers or the Mastermind's power work, where you can dash and grab a survivor and either he will throw them into a wall or an object or into another survivor, or they will just land on the ground and not taking any damage. So very similar to Whisker's power. Now for his final thing of his power, of course, is his plasma cannon. Which how it works is when fired, it makes like an AoE zone, kind of similar to how like Unknown's DBD works, and or if it hits, and it will deal damage to all targets in that AoE zone, and then goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. Now, unlike the Unknown, this thing does not bounce. Whenever it hits something, it will explode instantly, so it will not bounce on the ground or on survivors. It will explode on contact with everything. And it's not more heavier than the Unknown's DBD, so you can't really launch it across the map. You have to be kind of close, but not too close. I feel like this power works for him to represent like a lot of the things that he could do in the first movie. Yeah. Now, as for his perks, this is what I've come up with. Anytime, which again, I'm not gonna watch part of the movie myself, but from what I've read on a wiki, this is a reference to him mimicking the voice on someone else. Again, I've not watched movies, but I think that's what it said, so hopefully that's correct. Now, what this perk does is after hooking a survivor, you gain undetectable for 60 seconds, and makes your steps sound like a survivor. So it is kind of like a very strong silver, because again undetectable, but sometimes even undetectable, sometimes survivors can still hear you walking towards them because of how loud certain killers are. But this will turn your footstep sounds into a survivor, meaning it's way harder for them to notice if it's a killer approaching or the survivor. Which I feel a lot with Predator's whole aspect of stealth, and he can kind of mimic stuff of people, not in mainly voices, but again, maybe the entity has something different to allow the people to do this. As for the second perk, it's called Trophies of Men, which is a abbreviation of one of the words that the Predator is referred to as in the first movie. And what this does is after killing a survivor, you have to just really kill them, not sacrifice someone, just to kill them like a Mori. And after killing a survivor, you gain a token. And for each token, you gain 5% haste for 10 seconds every 50 seconds. So at max you can get is 3 tokens, so at 3 tokens you get 15% haste for 10 seconds. That sounds like a lot, which it is, but remember, you have to kill a survivor in order to gain 1 token. So good chance, at most during during like late game, you have maybe 1-2 tokens. 3 if you have been playing really well, but most you have 1 or 2. Now as for his final perk, we have Code of Honor. What this does is whenever a survivor stuns or blinds you, they become the station and become exposed for 20 seconds. Now, one of you love DJs, I feel like it sounds very similar to a Nemesis, the only perk, but I really can't think of a different idea for this in my top of the head. If anyone has any ideas, let me know in the comments. I can't really think of any idea, and I feel like only perk is also a bit different. Yeah, it's different because the only one you don't become exposed, you just become oblivious. That's how it works. So it means, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoy your time. These are always so fun to do. And again, huge shout out to Chocolate for allowing me to use this footage and giving me the idea for this video. Thank you so much. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoy your time. And remember, you matter in this world. There's always someone who will love and appreciate you. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, just remember you're loved and appreciated. Be happy, stay happy. See all you lovely people next time. Later, Bucket Army.